But everybody is seeing what is happening in Canada in the last few days. Today is Monday, we are only speaking about yesterday. Everybody knows what has happened, and today indeed is a very dark day in the history of Canada. Today, Hinduism is under attack in this beautiful country that we call home. But it is not a new phenomenon. People filled with hate have always been trying to destroy Satya Sanatan Dharma since the beginning of history. In the recent history of Bharat, the British came to trade, they never left, then they tried to destroy Hinduism. Satya Sanatan Dharma ko todne ki prayas kiye hain. After the British, then the Muslim invaders came. When they came also, Satya Sanatan Dharma ko mithane ki prayas kiye hain. They tried to wipe Hinduism off of the face of the earth. They destroyed our temples, they burned our mandirs, they tried their best to destroy our shastras. Always the Hindus are struggling. Always the Hindus are facing some kind of crises. Even when the British left, they did partition before they leave to ensure a generational problem will be there. A generational problem will remain. Aaj tak, even today, there is constant conflict in that part of Bharat. Even today, Hindus in Kashmir, in their own land, they call themselves refugees. Kya aap kalpana kar sakte ho? That Hindus in their own part of Bharat are calling themselves refugees. Still, Bharat is a symbol of strength. Bharat is a symbol of prosperity. India never begs for anything. Bharat kabhi dunya se bheek nahi mangte hain. Democracy flourishes in India. You all have seen what happened in Bangladesh in the recent past. How many real democracies exist in that part of the world? And yet, there are so many people who hate Hinduism. And by extension, then they hate Bharat Desh. Why? They hate us because we are successful. They hate us because we have a functioning democracy. They hate Hindus because Hindus are educated. We pray to Mata Saraswati and we send our children to school and we make sure they become the best doctors, teachers, engineers. In Bharat, there is so much freedom. Women have freedom. And much more freedom than many countries in the world. This hatred for Hinduism, Sanatan Dharma ko virod karte pagal ho gaye. They hate India and Bharat and Hinduism so much that they have become mad with their hatred. This Western world that is always criticizing Bharat, they cannot even maintain official diplomatic ties with Tibet because they are scared of what China will say. They cannot mention anything about human rights violation in China, yet still they always attack Bharat. They always attack India. They always have something to say. A country that is a federal republic with free elections, just like Canada, just like the USA. Still, India has to always tolerate insults. The media always try to portray India as a dangerous country. Bandhu, there is no more division to be had in the modern world. No modern country will accept any kind of separation. No modern country will accept any kind of division. What did Canada say when the French asked for their own state in Quebec? Did they give them what they wanted? In the US, do you know that Florida and Texas, sometimes they say we want our own state? Do you think the USA will ever allow that? Nobody will ever allow that. In this country, everybody has the right to protest. We accept that. We believe in that, freedom of speech. When the Muslim students protested for Palestine, the Western governments, the Western media, they condemned them. They blacklisted them. When the truckers protested in Ottawa during COVID, their bank accounts were frozen by this country. Such harsh punishments were given to these protesters. And yet still, when these Khalistani extremists are protesting outside of a mandir, when they force their way inside of the gates of this mandir, inke haath mein danda leke aaye hai, they come with sticks and they hit our devotees on the head. Nothing happens to them. In fact, nobody even calls their name. Look at all of the official statements from all of the leaders of this country. You'll never see the words Khalistani extremists. Everyone says we call for peace, we we denounce violence. We also call for the same thing. But it is Canadian Hindus that are being attacked. That is not a protest, that is an attack on Canadian Hindus. Bandhu, we like to say that this country has rule of law. Our Prime Minister loves to use this phrase. Where is the rule of law when people are forcing their way into a temple and beating devotees and trying to infiltrate this temple? Where is the rule of law? Why is it not protecting our Canadian Hindus? How can we have police standing there and allowing this to happen? And they have a very minimal response. I'll give you one example today from our Dharma Shastra. Two figures that are very famous. Ek to Bhishma Pitamaha from the Mahabharata, and the second is Jatayu. Both of them in their lifetime, they had a chance to act for Satya Sanatan Dharma, to do what is right. Bhishma Pitamaha, he was sitting in the Sabha of Duryodhana when Draupadi was being insulted. When Duryodhana gave the command to his brother Dusasan, take the clothing of Draupadi, Bhishma Pitamaha sat in that Sabha and he did not say anything. Jatayu, in his old age, he saw Ravan taking Mata Sita. He heard the cries of Mata Sita in the sky, Trahimam, Pahimam. Jatayu knew that this was Ravan. He knew that he faced certain death, and he went and he fought anyways. Ravana cut his wings off and killed him. Bandhu, Bhishma Pitamaha, he lies on a bed of arrows in the Mahabharata field, waiting for Bhagavan to come and see him, to remove his pain. Jatayu's head rests in the lap of Bhagavan Sri Ram. Look at the result that both of them got. Never feel like what is happening to Hindus in this country is happening over that side or in that place. We are not affected. We are all Canadian Hindus. And any atrocity that happens in that part of Brampton or that part of Canada is a direct insult and attack on all of us. Today, Hindus feel like this country, it is not our home. We have made our homes here. We contribute to this country. We pay tax. We are well behaved. There are not many Hindus in jails. We contribute. We are such an asset to this country. We are tolerant. Have you ever heard Hindus starting any problems? Have you ever heard Hindus trying to convert anyone? But seeing this tolerant religion, now they stand by as we are beaten in our own temples. And they watch us and they do nothing. Those who we are literally paying to protect us, they watch as nothing is done. Bandhu, aaj mandir mein ghus gaye, kal aapke ghar mein bhi ghus sakte hain. Today they invade your temples, tomorrow they will go to your house and do the same thing. Who will you call to stop them? You are seeing the level of infiltration at every level of government and even in the police. There is not much that I want to tell you this evening. Just know that in such situations of crisis, we always turn to our Dharma Shastra. Bhagavan Sri Ram ne kya kiye hai? Bhagavan Shri Krishna ne kya bole hai? Bhagavan Sri Ram leads by example. Acharan ke dwara. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he leads by Upadesh. He gives pravachan. He explains what to do. Jagat Gurum, he is the guru of the entire universe. Arjuna found himself in a similar situation. Bhagavan Shri Krishna told Arjuna, he says, Parth, hatova prapsyasi swargam, jitva va bhokshyase mahim. You must do your duty and you must fight this war. Agar mara gaya to swarg jaoge. If you die, you will go to heaven. And if you win, to Hastinapur ki singhasan aapka hai. The throne of Hastinapur belongs to you. Isliye Parth, tasmatu tishta kaunteya, hey Kunti putra, stand, pick up your weapons, yudhaya krita nischaya, and fight knowing that I am with you. Nischaya shabda prayog kiya Bhagavan ne. Nischaya means to be certain. Always remember what is the power of Satya Sanatan Dharma. Not the wealth that we have, not the connections that we have, not the so-called friends you think, the politicians you have. They are not the strength of Satya Sanatan Dharma. Aapke upar Sudarshan Chakra ke kavach hai. The kripa of Bhagavan Sri Ram, the kripa of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the fury of Bhagavan Shiva. That is the power of Satya Sanatan Dharma. When you go to Kashi, Kal Bhairav Murti is there. Kal Bhairav is called the Dwarpal of Kashi, one who protects Varanasi. In his mandir, there is a slogan written, Na koi chinta, na koi bhay, Bhairav Baba teri sada ki jai. Kal Bhairav Bhagavan protects all of his devotees. He protects Bhagavan Shiva. Bhagavan Shiva, who does not need protection, he has Kal Bhairav as his bodyguard. Bandhu, many people are asking us, what are we doing? The first thing we want to do is tell you to have no fear. How can you have fear when you have the kripa of Bhagavan Shri Ram, the protection of Mahakaleshwar Bhagavan, जो एक हुंकार से राक्षस को मार सकते हैं, the one who destroys with his voice the enemies of Satya Sanatan Dharam. तो निर्भय रहिए, be fearless, and do not worry about your safety in these mandirs. We are constantly engaging with the police, and even though we saw what can be considered a failure at Hindu Sabha Mandir, they have still given us their word that they will do their best. Yatha Shakti har mandir ka suraksha karenge. So we will take them at their word and give them another chance. People are asking us, what are we doing as the Hindu leadership in this country? We met with a lot of Canadian Hindu leaders, and there are a few steps we are taking. I will share this information with you so you know. The first step is we are taking a legal path, and we are trying to make it against the law to protest outside of any place of worship, not only mandirs, but it should be illegal to stand in front of the gates of a mandir or yehi bahane marte bar bar. We are standing on public property. This is not your property. And they are right outside your gate. How can this be fair? So we are making it illegal to have any kind of protest outside of any place of worship, not only a mandir. There should be no protest outside a mandir, masjid, gurdwara, outside of any church. That is not the place for a protest. Go and protest in front of your politicians, in front of their offices. The home of Bhagavan is free from politics. That is the first step we are taking, and that will apply to every place of worship in Brampton. The second thing we are doing is that we are filing a few injunctions that makes it illegal to protest in front of mandirs, which means that you can be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And then there are some other Hindu leaders who are organizing counter-protests, which will be at the appropriate places. They will be in charge of that. But Bandhu, one thing is certain. In that country where you cannot peacefully uphold your religion, in that country where there is no protection for those going to church, going to mandir, going to gurdwara, going to masjid, where you do not protect the devotees of Bhagavan, to Bhagavan aapki suraksha nahi karenge. Bhagavan also stops protecting people in that place. We are always praying to Bhagavan ki hamare suraksha kariye. We always pray to Bhagavan to keep His grace on us, to protect us. Know that we are constantly working with everyone, and we will always work in your interests. Ye mandir aapke liye banaye hain, for the Hindu Canadian community. This mandir is here only for you, and you should never feel any fear when you come here. Know that aapke samne Mahadev baithe hain, Bhagavan Shri Ram baithe hain. They will be the ones to protect us. और किसी के ऊपर इतना विश्वास मत करो, लेकिन भगवान के ऊपर विश्वास करो, ईश्वर के ऊपर विश्वास करो. बोलो सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. बोलो सदाशिव शंकर भगवान की